Welcome to the Time for Agape podcast, where we share stories of hope, healing, and transformation through Jesus Christ. And since our founding in 2019, our mission has been clear: to empower the church to love the LGBTQ+ community boldly, to equip the church with biblical truth about God's good design for sexuality, and to encourage the church to stand for the transforming power of Jesus Christ. We've seen God restore countless lives. We pray you encounter Jesus as Emmanuel, God with us.
Hey friends, welcome to this week's edition of Time for Agape. My name is Nate, and I am the director of Agape First Ministries. We're an inner healing ministry located in the heart of the nation, Minneapolis, Minnesota, but we have branches all over the state. At least at a couple places. And you'll meet those guys here in a minute. But I want to introduce the show. Really excited about our show today. We're in the middle of a series called From Broken to Beloved. And we're talking to detransitioners, people who came out as transgender, lived that way for a period of time, and then have since detransitioned after meeting Jesus and experiencing his radical, profound, transforming love. And so I'm reminded, it says in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, that we overcome the evil one by the power of the blood and the word of our testimony. And so there's so much overcoming that happens as we hear testimonies of people overcoming. And it strengthens our own faith. And so I'm excited for you to hear from our guest today. This is a two-parter within the series. And so we'll have this guest this week and next week. So we'll get to hear kind of the full story from him. Well, before I go any further, I want to introduce my co-hosts for the day, Gracie and Darren. Gracie runs Operation 100th Sheep, which is a ministry of Agape First located in Western Minnesota. And Pastor Darren Mell with Made Free Ministries in Northern Minnesota. And so, hey guys, welcome back to the show.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Well, I don't want to waste a lot of time because I'm really excited for our guest today. Ben is someone that I met on another podcast that I do, and I was able to hear his story, and I was so moved. You know, you can always tell, at least I think you can always tell when somebody is a true follower of Jesus. You can just see it in their face, and you can hear it in their story. And so I was really blessed to hear Ben's story, and I said, you got to come on our show, and he graciously said yes. So welcome to the show, Ben.
Hi, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm excited.
All right. Well, Ben hails from New Hampshire. At least that's where he's currently living, and he is a 7th grade math teacher. But we are not here today to talk about fractions.
Yeah. No, I thought that's what I was here. I'm just kidding.
I know, right? It would be so over my head. I mean, math, I don't know why the teaching of math has changed so much from when I was a kid, which wasn't that long ago. Like, it's completely different. I can't even help, my 5th grader do math anymore. Anyway.
I wasn't a kid even that much longer ago, and it was the way that they teach. I'll just give an example. Like slope is like, instead of rise over run, boom, call it a day. All this stuff is like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to make a triangle, you got to do. I'm like, what? This is it's the same topic. Okay.
Right. And then
ranting.
I lost already. You lost me at slope. Well, Ben, let's jump into your story. Maybe you can start by just giving us kind of the basics. You were born a biological male, but at some point that changed for you. And just kind of give us a little bit of the basics of early on in your story.
Yeah, so I was born biologically male, and I identify as biologically male. And I'm grateful to say those words, because for the bigger majority of my life, that was not the case. I like it. The way that I start this is I usually say, "Oh, ever since the age of 5 years old," but that's usually the case. I've never met any transgender person, or no longer a transgender person, that has had a different story than that. It's always from the age of 5 years old, I felt this, which makes sense. Like, psychologically, that's when gender develops in your brain. So I think I don't know if we have any statistics on that or anything, but
Not right now.
no, I don't know anything about that. Did we lose? What's his name?
No, Darren's just producing. He's off the screen.
Oopsie.
So you were born a boy, but what happened at age 5?
Yeah. So at age 5, whatever it means to, I feel like a boy, I feel like a girl, that I never felt comfortable in the way that I was, in who I was. And for a 5-year-old to even try to explain what that means, it doesn't make sense. It's just, I feel this, I am this, but I feel this. Why don't those match? And
Yeah.
that was something that before I even could understand, that's what I felt.
So there was just kind of an uncomfortability, and it just didn't quite seem to fit for you.
Yeah. And I never knew, I could never explain why. I just didn't know if everyone felt this way or if this was part of growing up. It's just, yeah.
What, Benjamin, what were some of the indications like that you spent time praying and going through? Like, I know you're saying it just kind of felt like that, but where did the feelings come from? Because as a male, you don't know what it is to be a woman or a female, right? And so for a 5-year-old to be confused about their gender, I'm curious, like, what were the experiences or the thoughts that you had that contributed to the confusion? Have you thought through that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So you're right. Any male would not know what it's like to be a female. But I think when I think about it today as a 27-year-old, I think that it was, I don't know if it was external environment or if it was internal thinking, whatever was going on. It was, this is how a boy should be. This is how a boy should act. This is what a boy does. And the way that I feel, the way that I naturally want to act doesn't line up with maybe it's expectations, maybe gender roles, maybe it's male it's something like that.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
I hear you say, going back to 5 years old, and as you reflected on, possible root causes or, where it came from, what brings you to 5 years old? And why not later when you have something more concrete?
That's my first memory of this. 5 years old, I know that, like, in psychology, that's when gender develops, like in your brain.
Oh, okay.
Like yeah.
And when you say that at 5 years old, that's where you remember it. What was I got lost. What was the remembering part specifically? What did you remember?
I remember today you would call it gender dysphoria, I guess. But what I didn't have the names or feelings or the words to explain that. It was just, I should be feeling happy with the way that I was born, but I currently don't. And I have another part to that. I think half of it was, I don't want to be a boy. And then the other half was, I wish I was a girl. It's like a 2-part thing, which I can't explain why or how, but that was the words in my head.
At 5 years old, you remember not being comfortable being a boy and wanting to be a girl. You don't necessarily know what caused that, but that's the earliest memory that you have.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And even before I knew what prayer was, or before what any of that stuff was, I remember as I grew up, like years, I would pray, I wish I was a girl. I remember saying it to my ceiling as like a 7-year-old or 8-year-old. And it doesn't make sense. It's like, why would a child feel that way? I don't know. I still don't know to this day why, where it came from, how I had it, why it was there. I don't know.
Okay, so that kind of leads to my question, if that's okay, guys. So who was the first person you told? Like, how did this come out of your mouth, and to who?
That's a good question. It never came out of my mouth. It was something that I kept inside for a long time. I think I tried to. I don't know. I mean, it would sound like me. It would make sense if I like tried to ask kids at school, if I was like, have you ever felt this? But it was just normal to me. So I never really thought, oh, this is not right, so I need to find out what is right. That's just what I always remember feeling. So I think I lost track of your question. Did I answer your question?
No, yeah, I was just kind of curious as like who you told first. Like,
Oh.
go to mom and dad and say, hey, I'm feeling this way, or was it your own journey that you kept secret? And I think you kind of answered that.
Well, actually, I have an interesting point to that, because I did lose my dad at 7 years old, but the memories that I do have of my dad are positive. He was a very, very masculine man. Like, he was an Army Ranger. He's like, hoorah kind of guy. And it was always like, do your pull-ups, do your push-ups, do this, do this. And it was it was a positive thing for me. I remember I have only good memories, but I remember being like, I just don't feel that way though. I don't feel like a do 50 push-ups kind of boy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So just to kind of interject, when we think about identity and identity formation, so much of our identity is informed by our attachments and the examples that they present. Our identity is in a lot of ways, you could think of it in the brain as a series of pictures or examples. This is how my people handle these types of situations. But if there's a disconnect or a breakdown in the attachments, the attachment process, we don't always get all of the information we need about who we are. And the other thing that can come into play is something called temperament mismatch, where it sounds like this kind of fits with you, Ben. You had a dad that had a particular temperament, and you had a very, very different temperament. And so it caused somewhat of a dissonance in you, because when you're a little boy, you think, well, that's what being a man is, and you're not able to think as abstractly and say, well, there's lots of different ways that masculinity can express itself. That's not really something that kids can do. They're more concrete. It's just like, dad is the example of masculinity, and I don't fit it, So, that's kind of a little bit about what's happening in that. And age 4, 5, 6, you're individuating and you're coming into more of who you are and your identity. And so, yeah, it's a critical time in childhood development. Well, let's get back to your story. So you are, you're kind of just struggling silently through elementary school, junior high. When did you finally come out and say, I'm transgender?
Yeah, so I saved these feelings inside for 10, 12 years maybe. It wasn't until like sophomore or junior year of high school. That's when I actually met a transgender person. Like the first type of transgender person I've ever encountered ever in high school. And so I we talked. It was my best friend's boyfriend at the time, and just talking to this person, we were able to exchange feelings, and I realized, oh, this person feels this way and I feel this way. So they're transitioning. Maybe I should do that too. And that might fix my problems. You know what I mean?
There I am. So that was around high school age?
Yeah, like 15, 16.
15, 16. And did you come out to your mom at that point in time, or did you wait? No.
She was the last one to find out. I hid everything.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
did you, so 15, 16, is that when you started to seek medical interventions, or was that later?
That was later. That was until almost 19. I was, I was 18 when I started medically. But it started off socially, because I met this person in sophomore year. Junior year, it took a whole junior year, like all of 11th grade to think about it, and then it was 12th grade where I decided to socially, okay, guys, I'm changing my name, and call me this now, basically. So I did the social part for at least a year and a half before I started medical, which helped.
Tracy, you want to jump in?
Yeah. So, okay. So you met the one person. Did you have a group of friends? Like, how did your friends, when you started socially coming to this mindset, this place in your life, how did the people around you, like your friends and stuff, react to that?
Wow. That's a great question, because I was getting new friend groups in high school, and without going into too much detail, this particular friend group that I was new to, it was 5, maybe 6 different high schoolers, and one of them was trans, another one was trans. They're 2 females transitioning to male. There was a lesbian girl, there was a gay guy, and then there was me, who was just trying to figure stuff out. So they weren't my only friends, but they were like okay, you go to school, you have your school friends, then you go after school and hang out with these kids. And so they weren't exactly the prime healthiest not inflation. That's not the right word. Influence. Yes. They're not exactly the prime influence I needed in high school.
Benjamin, it sounds like was that an LGBTQ club of some sort that you were together, or was it just a friends group? Like how'd you find that group of individuals?
Yeah, it was. Well, I mentioned that first transgender person that I met. That was my best friend's boyfriend, best friend's trans boyfriend, and who was also in a polyamorous relationship with the other biological female transitioning to a male. So it was a 3-way relationship, and those other 2 people were friends with those 2 trans people, who was friends with my best friend. So it was just like a chain of friends, that how we met. I was also in the LGBT club in high school, though. So there was, I'm heavily involved here at this point when I was meeting all these people.
So were you kind of an activist of sorts at the time? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I self-identified as like a leader in the LGBT community at this point, even though I haven't even started medical yet. It was like, I am so sure. This is senior year at this point I'm talking. Like, I am emotionally, I am set. I am for this idea. I want to be a good representation. I also was aware of, like, this was like 2015, 2016. There was the statistics at the time were like, suicide attempt is very high. It's like, I think, what is it, 40? It was 43%. I don't know if that changed in 2026 or anything, but 10 years ago, it was like 43% attempted suicide rate. And I was like, I vow I will not be a statistic. I will not be part of the 43%. I will represent the good that can come out of being transgender and how it's helped me emotionally since 5 years old. So yeah, I consider myself an activist as much as an activist can be at 17 years old.
So you're 18 and you decide, okay, I'm going to do the medical transition. Was that a hard decision for you to make, or was it one of those things where it was like, just putting on makeup and women's clothes wasn't enough. You know, I need to do something medically.
Yeah, I knew that if I was going to go through with this, I was going to go through the whole thing. That's just, I just feel like such an overachiever. I've always had those tendencies. So like, if you're going to do something, you got to do it all the way. And fortunately that's worked against me in this particular case. But, yeah, I forgot the first part of your question, unfortunately. What did you say?
I'm just wondering, you know, was the decision to
Oh, the decision.
yeah.
Yeah. So the decision itself, I was, because of the social part that I did for a year and a half before, I was ready at this point. This was like, because I started off the whole year of junior year thinking, is this really what I want to do? Is this like, where's the good in this? Is this beneficial for my long-term outcome as an adult, one day, future adult? And then the senior year, I was set on the idea. And so I was like, so I spent senior year trying to get, oh, like, can I see this doctor? Can I steal my health insurance from my mom, like the card, so I can secretly call a doctor? I was all doing all these things just to try to, you know, I was set on the idea already after junior year of high school.
Gracie.
I have a question. Who were you? Oh, go ahead, Gracie.
No, go ahead, Darren. You're good.
Okay. Well, Benjamin, I was wondering, you know, during that time, what were the most influential things where you went from your junior year to senior year to inquiring about it to deciding about it? And what were the organizations or the people who were contributing the most to that?
You ask really good questions. That's really good. I think time played the most impact, honestly, because I had a full year to really process it. Like I remember the first time I thought about it, like after I met that first transgender person, I was thinking, is that they're happy and they had my feelings, so maybe that's for me. And so it took, you know, thinking over time. I would think about it every day, because, you know, I'd be like, okay, maybe think about it more. You know, and then I'd meet another transgender person, and then, okay, yeah, they're doing it too, maybe. And then, like 2 more people decide that they're changing their name. It's like, well, I'm not blaming the social part of it being like I was influenced by the social, like the people around me doing it. It was, they're doing it, they seem happy, so maybe that would be beneficial for me. So it was my own thinking doing that.
Okay, now can I go? I'm just kidding. Okay, so other things, there's always things that play into self-discovery or trying to figure out who we are. And you can say no to this question, but was pornography introduced to you to play a role in some of these things for you?
Ooh, interesting. That's never been something I really struggle with. That's never been. It's an interesting question. So you're familiar with like anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing about I got into anime like sophomore, junior year of high school, and not the weird kind or anything. It was just regular, like anything, literally anything made by Japanese companies, whatever. It was. I like how anime is very gender role, very very strict gender roles. Like all girls wear a skirt, all boys wear a suit, and it's very like by the book, by gender roles. And I saw that lifestyle in anime, and I and I kind of put myself in their shoes, and I was like, wow, would I like to be this type of lifestyle? Would I like to be perceived as this very strict gender role female, someone who always wears a skirt, someone who's always so being perceived as light and soft and attractive, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
I liked that type of attention, but as a boy, it's hard to get that type of attention. So I kind of put myself in the place of an anime girl, and I'm cringing as I'm saying those words out loud, but that's genuinely what I was thinking.
So Ben, you start on hormone therapy, and what was that like? I mean, I know sometimes people say, you know, it was that they really enjoyed it. I mean, like, what was it like to start on hormones?
Yeah. So yeah, at this point, I started hormones 18 years old. I'm 10 days before my 19th birthday. So I'm right on the edge of 19. And I remember the day. I remember March 13th, 2017. I'll never forget that day because it was the best day of my life. It was like, this is finally what I've been trying to go for years. And this will solve my problems. This will make me be perceived the way that I want to be perceived.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But it didn't solve your problems, and so you decided to go further and do surgery. Was that a hard decision for you to make?
For bottom surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that at 23. So that was 6 years after 5 years into hormones. And that was it wasn't a hard decision. I'm not going to lie. Because I knew from even before I started hormones, I was going to do that. That was like a preset. I know one day I'm going to do this. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know I'm going to do it. And so I had time kind of took away the nervousness about it.
And so I'm going to ask, I want to do a quick follow-up, Darren, then you can jump in. and I want to ask the question that I think every guy in everywhere wants to know.
Go ahead. You can ask me. I'm not afraid to answer it. Go ahead.
Well, it's just, I wonder, and maybe you already kind of answered it with that it wasn't a hard decision, but I mean, when you consider cutting off a body part, that's so radical and drastic. Was it that you hated that particular body part? Was there body shame? Did you not like how you looked, or did it represent something that you wanted to get rid of?
Yeah, this is a long answer though, so
it's okay. Go for it. We want to know.
Okay. Well, if I don't say this first, the LGBT community, if they were to ever come across this, would be like, oh, shame on you. Why didn't you say this? It's not cutting off a body part. What the surgery is reconstruction surgery. So they take the muscles and the glands and the skin, and it's called penile inversion. So they take, here's your body part, and they do this.
Yeah. And
so it's not just like a eunuch style, like, chop it off, have a good day. It's they call it reconstruction, but it's just, they just move muscles around. And I am notorious for forgetting the other half once I answer the first part.
So we're just talking about, like, how did you feel about that particular body part? Was it something that did you hate that part? Did you have shame?
Yeah. So let me write that down so I don't forget. So part of me, half of me felt that I didn't really want to lose it, but the other half of me wanted to gain a female reproductive system.
Mm-hmm.
I did have shame over what I was born with. I remember feeling that, and that was part of. And not everyone feels. If you ask every transgender person, not everyone's gonna say, I feel shame about my reproductive system. They're not gonna say that, because I think only 1% of the transgender community gets bottom surgery. I think that's government statistics on the website. And so I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. I could be thinking of something else. But yeah, I did feel shame about what I had, but I also, the other half of me was like, there's a chance that by going through with the surgery, I could lose what I could, like, if I'm here, like, I could go down a level in sensitivity. I could go down, and I could be permanently numb, and I have to accept that going into it. Like, there's so many risks involved in this. I could answer deeper than that.
Well, I'll just ask one more question, and then Darren, I know you want to ask a question, but so is it reversible?
Yes and no, because I remember asking this question. Oh, when you go into it, like, initially, they'll say, no way, this is not even close to reversible. You'll never get what you got back. You'll never be able to have kids. You'll never be able to gain what you can't do what God can do. So no, you can't. But it's cosmetically reversible, because I know the people who have cancer and or like war veterans that they get blown up and lose their genitals. I know that they can do reconstruction for that. So it's cosmetically reversible, but the only hope for any type of sensitivity or feeling would be to keep the nerves that they already have. Unless there's some type of like in 30, 40 years where they have like regeneration therapy somehow. I don't even know if that's ethical or anything, but like science is not at the point where it's reversible. No.
Okay.
That's
Are you?
clear about
Is that something that you would want to pursue if it was, or?
I've thought about that. It's tricky because I'll say this, my initial, like my surgeon, I was the first surgery after the COVID break, in Boston Medical Center. And so my surgeon had many months off, and he normally does the surgery every week. He had many months off. And so I was the first one back, and my results were so perfect. Even my surgeon was like, you got so lucky. This is so natural. Everything went according to plan. You are the prized patient. That's what he told me. I got all the results I wanted. It was perfect. Perfect as it could be. But you said something first, and that's why I started saying that.
Well, I was asking if you had considered reversal.
Even though I got everything that I wanted, I think if science was good enough one day, I would love to reverse it. And there's, if it's possible one day, yeah. But if it's not, then I'm not sitting here like crying about it, because I have a verse for it. I think it's Revelation 21:4 off the top of my head. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, from the old order of things has passed away. That wasn't what I was looking for, but that's a good verse too. It's it's the one where you get a new body in heaven. I don't know what verse that is off the top of my head.
Yep.
Philippians 3:21, maybe. Is that what it is? Whatever it is. It's in the Bible somewhere.
Yeah.
But God says that he'll give us a new body. There'll be, that
A glorified body.
a glorified body. And I know that my current situation obviously is I go through a lot of grief about it. I live with grief, and I'm hoping that over time that will heal more and more. And I wish I have, but it takes time to heal that. That it's so temporary. It's so temporary. And I know that I'll get a brand new body in heaven, and it'll work great. So that's
God.
I hold on to that tightly.
So good. Final question, Darren and Gracie.
Well, you had mentioned that you had your treatment in Boston Medical, and I was going to ask you, about how that happened. Like, was it with the on your parents' insurance? Was it with your parents? Was your family there? Who was your support through that? What was the support system to go through that? I mean, I know you said that you really had a plan to do it, but I was curious if there was a support system that went along with you for that.
Yeah, my mom has been always very supportive before and after. My mom's a nurse, and so she's very like, she's kind of like tuned with like mental health. She thinks that like, oh, whatever you need to feel good in your brain is what you need. That's how she feels. So she supported me when I wanted to transition. She supported me when I wanted to detransition. My mom's been a key support in my life, throughout the bad times and good times. But you mentioned insurance too. I got it in Massachusetts. If you're a resident of Massachusetts and your income is under a certain level, you have Mass Health. It's like statewide insurance. So they paid for it. I didn't pay a single penny for it. Massachusetts taxpayers paid every penny.
Wow.
So,
Gracie.
All right, I have one last question for you. When you woke up from your surgery, did you feel like you accomplished what you wanted to? Did you feel like you were a woman?
wow. Yes, actually, physically, yes. I woke up. I remember waking up and thinking, I finally achieved my dream. This is exactly what I wanted. And to build on top of it, my surgeon was saying, you are the most prized patient. You handled the pain well. Your results were spectacular. And like it was unbelievable. It was the best day of my life waking up from that surgery. But something I've learned from today, going over time, happiness. I was the happiest that I've ever been in my life, but there's more to life than just being happy, because happiness is based on your circumstances, and your circumstances can be not good when you get misgendered, and that's not the. It's not first place living, if that makes sense. It's second or third place living. Because joy is not based on your circumstances, but yeah, I was the I am repeating myself now. I know I'm rambling. the happiest I was the happiest I've ever been, but joy is so much better than being happy.
Amen. Well, Ben, thank you for sharing what you've shared so far. If you are on the edge of your seat like I am, I want to encourage you to tune in next week, because the story gets so much better, and we're going to talk about when Ben met Jesus, and what Jesus has accomplished in his life, and so we're getting to the good stuff. And I can't wait. I can't wait to get there. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And these stories are important, and more brave young men and women like Ben are coming forward, and they're sharing their detransitioner journey, and it's it's not what we get presented in secular media and in the world. There's more to the story, and so if you're watching today and you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share this with all of your friends. It's how we can get the word out. And, we're not just about changing laws. We want to change hearts. Like I said at the beginning, Revelation 12, this is how we overcome. It's these kinds of testimonies. And so I just love how our testimonies can fill the atmosphere and go through the internet and sound waves and all of that. And there's overcoming that happens. So Ben, thank you, because people are overcoming as you're sharing. If you want to follow us, we have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Agape First Ministries Media. You can follow us on Facebook. And we also have a website that we populate with tons of resource, agapefirstministries.org. If you have the heart to give and the means to do so, we are US-based missionaries, and we raise our own support to do this work. And so you can click the donate button on the website and give there. Well, it is our desire to make the name of Jesus famous. And Ben, you're doing just that. So I'm really proud of you. And we'll see you back next week for part 2.
Nice. I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Absolutely. See you next week on Time for Agape.